Good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Wednesday morning. I hope you're doing okay. If you're new to the channel, please do consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you like the content. And whether you're new or an existing subscriber or just passing through to watch this show, please, if you appreciate the content, please hit that like button during the show or definitely at the end of the show. So, what am I going to talk about this morning? Well, there's quite a few subject areas, aren't there, that we can discuss about West Ham at this moment in time. We never seem to be out of the news at the moment, especially when it's negative news. But I'm going to focus briefly on Mohammed Kudus because he's not having the best of years in his career at the moment. It was at the end of September that I did a special show on Kudus, suggesting how Julian Lopetegui might be able to get the best out of this skillful player at West Ham. Up until now, in the Premier League this season, Lopetegui has insisted on using Kudus out on the left side of attack, which has resulted in the player just scoring only 2 goals and creating 1 assist in 10 appearances in all competitions so far. It was David Moyes who first used Kudus on the left side last season after several failed attempts at using various other players in that position. Now, no one thought that Lopetegui would continue with this trend, especially when we went out and bought Crescencio Somerville, who was last season's Championship Player of the Year and who made that position on the left side of attack his own. It was obvious why Moyes used Kudus on the left because he wanted to bring Antonio back into the fold after injury into the team, hence moving Jared Bowen back out to the right. And Kudus was kind of like the fall guy, the only person left, the only player left that he hadn't tried in putting on the left side of attack. Actually, throughout that period, Kudus didn't actually do that badly on that side. But it seemed odd, really, that Lopetegui has now followed suit. Now, up until now, I, for one, have been suggesting that Kudus playing on the left is the reason why he has lost some of his form and the reason for him looking so unhappy this season. Now, I'm beginning to rethink that, whether the issues Kudus is facing are only to do with where he's been asked to play. And the reason why I'm questioning it now is whether there is more to it because of Kudus's reactions to several incidences that have happened throughout this year. When I did the special show on the player at the end of September, it was a few days after our game against Brentford away, where Kudus was subbed at half time. We then started to hear the rumours as to what had happened during the halftime interval between him and Lopetegui. It was said that Kudus had a bust-up with Lopetegui, in which the player had to be restrained after the head coach had accused the midfielder of not being a team player. Now, in the days that followed, there was speculation whether Lopetegui would make an example of Kudus in the next game and whether he would either pick him in the first 11 or bench him. Now, we all know deep inside that Kudus is too good a player to be benched, don't we? He was picked. In the Ipswich game, all of a sudden, we saw the kind of performance that we had been waiting for all season from Mohammed Kudus and from several other key players as well. He got on the score sheet and there seemed to be smiles all round. But look, we know that Ipswich is not the strongest of teams. It's not the benchmark to be making with the greatest of respect to them. And many agreed that the measure of West Ham and its star players would be determined by the challenges we would face after the last international break. So, like several others, Kudus went off to join his national side, and he was even made captain for their first of 2 AFCON qualifier games against Sudan. Kudus's captaincy lasted just the 1 game. It was a draw against Ghana at home. Kudus relinquished the captain's armband, but was still in the team who then lost 2-0 to Sudan in the away fixture. Now, The results there could result in Ghana potentially not being able to qualify for the AFCON tournament next year. And this led Kudus to send a message to the fan base, which said, "We urge all the fans to stand by us during this period, challenging period. Your encouragement and faith in us will fuel our determination to succeed. We will not give up. We look forward to redeeming ourselves in the upcoming matches." However, despite sending out that message, Ghanaian press and Ghanaian fans have not been too impressed with the performances of the Ghanaian team, and many fans have directly criticised Kudus for his performances. But this isn't the first time that Kudus has been receiving or has been targeted for criticism by the Ghanaian fans and the press. He has been receiving constant criticism throughout the whole of this calendar year for what many fans perceive to be an arrogance about the player and his approach. Some of the comments that came out, such as one said, "You people should tell Kudus the truth. He's not Messi, nor is he Ronaldo. He should stop doing too much and release the ball quickly." Kudus should have not reacted, but he did. He replied, "Massa, be quiet," he said. Another fan tweeted, "Mohammed Kudus needs to be talked to. What kind of selfishness and unnecessary ball control is that?" Kudus bit back again by telling the fan, "Come and talk to me yourself." And a third example aimed at him stated, "I think the hype is getting into the head of Mohammed Kudus now. Bro, play the ball like you would play it at West Ham." Again, Kudus responded with a terse reply. Now, on top of the criticism that he's getting from the Ghanaian press and fans alike, some West Ham fans are beginning to say similar things, in that he's trying to beat teams on his own, he's not passing the ball when he should, and being altogether a little bit too selfish. So, was Lopetegui right to suggest that Kudus had not been a team player in the game against Brentford? Well, Lopetegui now has no choice but to replace Kudus for at least the next 3 games, given his red card against Spurs last weekend. At the stadium, when we saw that he was initially shown the yellow card, we kind of breathed a sigh of relief, because we were close enough to see that he could and maybe should have gotten the red card immediately for his outburst on Mickey van der Ven. And if that wasn't enough, he then went for Papa Sarr, which resulted in VAR getting involved and the yellow card rescinded, and of course being shown a straight red. So there are 3 cases here where Kudus has reacted quite badly to certain situations: the criticism he's been receiving from Ghanaian fans and the press, his reaction to Lopetegui, who accused him of not being a team player, and now the way he allowed his emotions to get the better of him during the game against Spurs, which led to his sending off. Now, the straight red card, we know it's an automatic 3-match ban. But now the FA have levied charges on Kudus with improper and violent conduct. If he's found guilty of that, his 3-match ban is likely to be extended to 6, which means he'd miss games. Well, he was already going to miss the games against Man United, Forest, and Everton. But on top of that now, he could miss games against Newcastle, Arsenal, and Leicester. If that's the case, he wouldn't play until the 9th of December, when we host Wolves at the London Stadium. And it could be even worse. He could be given what might be deemed as the maximum punishment of 6-game ban on top of the 3 automatic ones, rather than additional 3. So rather than coming back on the 9th of December, it means he could miss a potential another 3 games, which means we won't see him back in a West Ham shirt until possibly Boxing Day against Southampton. Both West Ham and Spurs have also been charged by the FA for not controlling their players, which could result in a fine of something like about 175 grand per club. And West Ham have got until Thursday to respond to the charges as to whether they'll accept them or dispute them. But all in all, what Kudus did on Saturday was not just the frustration of a player being played out of his favoured position. It looks to go deeper than that. With his outburst, as I've said, against the fans on social media, his outburst against Lopetegui, and now his outburst on the pitch at Spurs, is the pressure actually getting to Mohammed Kudus? I think Kudus is the sort of player that thrives on adulation, especially obviously from the fan base, hence being given the nickname of Starboy. No one can accuse him of not trying, but perhaps, and I know this is going to sound a little bit ironic, perhaps he's trying too hard in thinking that he's the only player that can turn things around. He does have that special quality. Let's not forget what he did last year against Freiburg in the second leg of the last 16 in the Europa League, where he picked up the ball deep, ran what, 3/4 of the length of the pitch, beat several players during a mazy run, only to score such a memorable goal. So we know he's got the ability to be a match winner. And ironically, in that game, he played on the left side, and that didn't seem to affect his game that much. Moyes allowed him the freedom to cut in, and it certainly seemed to work. Look, he's got skill and in abundance, but a player so very talented has also got to remember that it is a team game as well. He's got to remember that sometimes he needs to pass the ball. Sometimes he needs to be involved in a team build-up rather than thinking he can do it all himself. Kudus's upcoming suspension is certainly going to give him time to reflect, and I hope he returns in a better frame of mind and more determined than ever to demonstrate what a world-class player he can be. Because what we need is a happy Mohammed Kudus. What we need is a player that can demonstrate to the fan base, to the head coach, to everybody, just how fantastic he can continue to be. Let's hope it works for him. It's a shame that we're going to lose him now for 3, 6, maybe even 9 games, but let's hope he comes back a lot stronger. If you're new to the channel, like I said, please do hit the like button. If you are an existing subscriber or a new subscriber, please do hit that like button, and I'll see you all very soon.